Hey, good morning, everybody. So today I have a little video to supplement your understanding of Amendments 7, 8, 9, and 10. So Amendment 7 basically says that you have the right to a trial in a civil suit. And a civil suit is different than a criminal case. So a crime is like when there's been a robbery or a murder, something of that nature. But a civil case involves a lawsuit. And you've probably heard of people suing each other, and it's basically for money or for damages. So, for example, if someone was negligent in, I have a good example. Like sometimes by the bubbler in the locker bay, you see the little orange cones and it says caution wet. And you'll see that around like at the malls or other places too. And that is because they don't want somebody slipping and falling and then suing the school because the floor is wet and it's their fault that they were injured. So this way, if they put the little orange cones out and say wet, they can say, no, we warned you. We told you it was dangerous. And if you fall, that's your own fault. But that's a way for people to get damages, to pay medical bills, or if they're out of job for a while because of their injuries, they can get paid. Um, so that's what Amendment 7 is about. It's about civil cases, not criminal cases. And basically, it means that you have the right to a jury trial in a civil suit. So that is Amendment 7. Okay, and now we are on to Amendment 8. So Amendment 8 basically says that you cannot be received unusual bail or punishment. So I need to explain what both of those means. So let's say that I was arrested for speeding 10 miles over the speed limit on Lake Drive. And they put me in jail and they give me bail. And that means that somebody has to pay money, this bail money, to get me out of jail until my trial. Now, the amount of bail, the amount of money you have to pay is equal to the level of the crime that you have committed. So speeding is never a good idea and you shouldn't do it. But it'd be, maybe a couple $100s. It would not be $10,000 or anything crazy like that. Now, if it was a murder case, it might be $500,000. Or sometimes, if the judge feels that the crime that has been committed is so terrible that they cannot give bail. So if you're like a mass murder or something, they might say, no, no, you're a danger to society. We cannot risk you being out of jail until your trial happens. And so that is bail, meaning that your bail amount has to equal the level of crime that you've committed. And then the same is true for punishment. If I am found guilty of speeding 10 miles over the speed limit on Lake Drive, they're not going to put me in jail for 5 years because that's just way too much for the crime that I've committed. They'd give me a fine and maybe take my driver's license away for 6 months if necessary. But even that would be excessive punishment for speeding 10 miles over the speed limit. So that is Amendment 10. It protects you from unusual bail and punishment. And on to Amendment 9. So Amendment 9 covers other protections or rights guaranteed to U.S. citizens not specifically listed elsewhere in the Bill of Rights or anywhere else in the amendments. An example of this is the right to privacy. Okay, it's not listed anywhere in the amendments, but yet we know we have the right to privacy, and so that is covered under Amendment 9. Another example is maybe the right to express yourself in what others might seem to be an obscene way. Sometimes music is censored, and they'll say, no, no, that's too terrible. Excuse me, you can't say that, or you can't paint that picture. And that is a combination of Amendment 9 and Amendment 1 because it's freedom of speech. And this picture here is of an umbrella because Amendment 9 is called the Umbrella Amendment because there are a lot of ideas that fit underneath the umbrella that aren't listed elsewhere in the Constitution. And the last amendment, Amendment 10 of the Bill of Rights, is to protect the states from the federal government. As we've discussed, there are some federal laws and there are some state laws. And basically this says that if there is not a federal law in place about a topic, then the state governments get to decide. And I'll give you an example of that. For many, many years, there was not a federal law about gay marriage. Okay, no law at the federal level that everybody had to follow. So, excuse me, it was left up to the individual states to decide if they wanted to legalize gay marriage or not. Well, several years ago, during President Obama's administration, the federal government did pass a law legalizing gay marriage. So that at that time then became a federal law. So Amendment 10 again basically says if there is not a federal law about an issue, the states get to decide.